morning to you, and you're welcome to Dominion Television channel of choice, where we talk all things sport on the go. This is Dominion Sport, and we'll be looking at the local front this morning, where Plateau United would welcome our Rivers United of the rescheduled game right there in the MPFL. Also, we'll be talking about the UEFA Champions League result that happened yesterday, and we'll be looking at the table. Likewise, the UEFA Europa League games are popping up tonight, and also the Conference League. All this and more on the show. And Victor Seme, yes, picked up an award yesterday. We'll be talking about that also on the show. I am Paul Toluwanimi Abe, and I'm not alone in the studio. I have Samson Balogun, the man with unbiased analysis and definitely undiluted report. Top of the morning to you, Samson Balogun. It's good to have you in the studio.
Beautiful morning to you, Toluwanimi. It's really nice to be back here to talk sports. This is what we do. Talk UEFA Champions League, talk the UEFA Europa League, the EPL, and then bring you unbiased analysis and undiluted reporter. So thank you for joining us on the show this morning. There's a lot to talk about.
All right, let's look at what's popping from the rescheduled game. Plateau United are going to welcome Rivers United right there, and how you're looking at where Plateau United are at this point in time on the table. And Rivers United, you look at these games for these two teams who need this point more in today's game.
Well, when you talk about fighting for survival, I think Plateau United would want to hold sway. But then if you look at what it means in terms of pursuing the title, if there's anything like that for Rivers United, I think Rivers United would want to push on and maintain a level of momentum, keep in touch with the top two in the league, and see what will happen if any of the teams will capitulate by the end of the season, and see if they can actually have a shot at the title. Don't forget, they were the runners-up last season. Yeah, so it might be something that will be a tough test for them away from home. Judging by Rivers United, will have to rotate the squad a little bit. They still have commitment on the continent, and most definitely traveling all the way from Rivers State to Plateau State. That's a long distance journey, and some of these players will have to rest to see to keep them in shape for their continental engagements and also subsequent NPFL games. But then it will be a tactical battle between Coach Fidelity George, and to see what exactly they can bring to the table, how they can turn things around this season. Yes, there have been one thing is surprising about Rivers United. Nobody has really been talking about how well they have been doing in the league, maybe because they have other engagements. But then if you look at how many games they have had to play as what you call outstanding games, and how many times they have had to maintain a level of discipline and momentum to see that they are at least in the top 4 in the league this season. If anything that has happened to Remo Stars is to go by, you will see that Rivers United have been really well in terms of consistency. They have really tried, because Remo Stars faced the same test. In fact, Remo Stars is out, but yet they are struggling. But for Rivers United, they are still trying to do one or two things. And in their last few games, in their last 5 games, you can tell that the only problems they have faced, which you call serious problems, will be their test on the continent, which is RS Bakene, Pyramids. Yes, they have lost those games, but for Bakene, it wasn't a scandalous loss, just a miscommunication in the back line. The fact they pushed into the last final minutes of the game, that they could have actually earned a point at least in that game, but you know, mistakes at the back, goalkeeper fluffing his lines, actually, you know, made them throw away the game. But for Pyramids away in Egypt, it was quite obvious that Pyramids were superior, maybe in terms of experience, consistency, in terms of the players they have been producing and providing for the continent. I mean, for the CAF engagements. But for Rivers United, many of their players are actually new to this particular tournament. So, but going into that game against Plateau, I see Rivers United walking home with all 3 points.
All right, let's look at the last 5 games also for Plateau United. It looks like a good run of form in the league for Rivers United. But let's see what Plateau United would also possess in this game. Samson Balogun, also a massive struggle for them in the last 5 games. 3 losses and 2 wins right there. They won the last game against Wadi Wolves. One needs to rejig for this team. They're sitting 17 on the log of the table. They need a win to be out of relegation battle.
Well, if you check, the only scare for Rivers United against Plateau is the fact that Plateau, in their last 5 games, they have won at home on 2 occasions, and they have played 3 of those away from home, and all those 3 they lost. So Rivers United might really be worried about the potential test that will be for them when they play Plateau at home. But hey, it's not really like that when you play against top teams. Rivers United is top team in the MPFL. It is evident in how they have performed so far in the league. Their consistency in the last 4 seasons, I mean, that says a lot about what the coach has brought to the table, Coach Finidi George has brought to the table. And I see that they are just a few points or maybe a few decisions away from actually being at the top of the table. But then, that for me is something that is really massive, and Plateau United might just lose for the first time at home their last maybe 3 or 4 games.
3 or 4 games, all right. Looking at the head-to-head battle, also it looks like it's turning in favor for Plateau United. Just talking about how far they are good at home, playing against Rivers United. But moving away from that, let's swiftly talk about the NWFL yesterday. Pacesetter Queens are still yet to pick up a point this season. I know something about Balogun. He is one to say, you don't start up a team, or you don't build a team that way. You saw how they came into the limelight of the NWFL, and it's been a massive struggle for them. But if you can have those results yesterday, before we discuss about the Pacesetter Queens, right there you have on the screen, Adamawa Queens against Abom Angels. The game ended in favor of Adamawa Queens. Ekiti Queens against Edo Queens on their own turf. They lost that one. The game ended in favor of Edo Queens, 1-0. Pacesetter Queens against Rivers Angels, the game ended 2-1. Nigeria Tales FC still to come today by 4 p.m. against Bayelsa Queens. In Group B, we have our FC Robo Queens defeating Delta Queens 2-0. Conference Queens against Remo Stars Ladies. That one ended in favor away from home to Remo Stars Ladies. Abia Angels against Oshun Babes. The game ended in favor of Abia Angels. Yadame Queens. The game ended in favor of Nasarawa Amazons away from home, 2-0. Still to come today by 4 p.m. right there in Group B, we have Sunshine Queens against Danas Ladies. Something about fantastic results for some teams. You look at the home teams, picking out results, some losing on their home turf also. For you, let's start off with Pacesetter Queens against Rivers Angels. It's not still working. The system is not working for them, and they even had, to put up a free show for fans to come to the stadium to watch the game, but yet not turning that result. But finally, they got a goal in match week 3.
Well, I think when this tournament was about to start, when the league was about to start, I made some bold claims, and I wasn't trying to be an angel of doom.
Yeah.
I just predicted what was going to happen. It was so sudden to throw the Pacesetter Queens right into the fray. I mean, that for me was a big misstep by the management of the team, by the Oyo State government, by the Commissioner for Youth and Sport. I think that was a big misstep. It shouldn't have happened. They should have probably played together, maybe a few games in the MPFL, in the lower league, and then see what they are capable of doing, recruit quality players from these top teams. Well, maybe they never intended to compete that much. They just wanted to be, maybe one way or the other, they just wanted to get some things done and see, well, maybe from here we can now pick up. But then you don't just mess things up because you feel like, let's just get it done. I mean, you don't just wake up overnight and someone sleeps in his or her home and then woke up overnight and say, oh, let's buy the ticket, let's play in the NWFL. It was quite a bad decision to be taken.
Or is it because of Shooting Stars, having to see how far they can go in qualifying for the CAF Champions League? Is that why this thing was created?
Well, you now get to the point. They just want to feel a sport. Shooting Stars they have been riding high for the last few games, in the last few seasons, at least in the last 3 seasons. They have finished in the top 6. I think they finished 4th, 5th, and this season, maybe if they continue pushing, but peradventure they qualify for the CAF Champions League. You cannot play in the CAF Champions League unless you have a female team, and that has been created. So all that story has been put to rest. But they threw the girls into the fray way too early. They should have started from somewhere. And also, if you look at the league, the last set of games played yesterday, you would discover that the winners were the usual suspects. I mean,
Yeah.
talk about Adamawa Queens against the Bomb Angels. Even the Bomb Angels,
Yeah,
they are a big team, and they lost to
yeah.
Adamawa Queens. And Ekiti Queens lost at home to Edo Queens
Yeah.
for that matter.
Yeah.
And Rivers Angels, I mean, that's the mother of them all. Won away to, I mean, you know
at
what
FC Robo Queens
FC
too.
Robo too, a big name in the league. Remo Stars ladies also, Abia Angels winning against Osun Babes, and then you will see that the weak links in the league they lost.
I agree.
Don't be shocked today when Niger Ratels and Bayelsa Queens plays a draw because they are two big guns playing in the league.
agree.
Don't be shocked if Sunshine Queens defeats Dana's ladies because so obviously in terms of experience and quality in the team, Sunshine Queens should, right, defeat Dana's Queens. So on paper that's it. But if any other thing happens, and that we'll discuss that later. And then the league is also taking shape because the big guns are winning away from home and the weak ones are losing at home. And that's what you are having on the log right now. And for Pacesetter Queens, they have played 3 games. They have only scored 1 goal. They have lost all 3 of those games. 2 away, 1 at home. Let's see what will happen in their next game at home. Maybe this might be at least a goal against Rivers Angel. Our own Anderling Bechi was in goal. Considered yes, but then they were able to get all 3 points in Ibadan. So let's see what Pacesetter Queens can actually offer when they play their next game at home. And if they are able to, maybe one way or the other, get a point or all 3 points, then that might set up. But you see, sometimes, no matter how badly placed you are, no matter how poor you are as a team, you just need that push, that nudge to say, look, yes, we are getting there, and then we can start from here.
But quick question, Samson, if they don't get the win again yet on their own turf, how do we call this team out, and how do we put them into place? Because at the end of the day, it looks like it's for it looks like a Wolverhampton Wanderers team at this point in time. If they don't get this win again on their own turf, how do we write the story for them at this point in time?
Well, you see, the problem is we all want to write sweet stories. We all want to, hail this team for doing this or for doing that. I mean, it is quite easy when you are writing a story about a team that wins. But very difficult to actually put pen to paper to write about a team that loses. Yeah, and sometimes when you are writing a story from the angle of, this is the winning team, I mean, the flow is usually there.
I agree.
But if you are writing for a team that loses a game, there are some choice of words that, no matter how you hate them, how you don't like the team, you still have to be careful about what you put in there. That being said, you see, it is honest thing to do when you are writing stories. And for the managers of the team, especially the media officer, I even heard at the point that the Commissioner for Youth and Sports, put that on her own shoulder to make sure that everything goes well. You see, it's beyond all that, right? Performance on the field of play is quite important at this time, and I think that is what they should be looking at. And I think that proper funding when the league breaks and they are all on break, I think more quality players can be brought on board. Another thing is your poor performance at this time, will it attract quality players come the middle of the season? That's another big question to be answered. But let's see what will happen, and let's see if this season can actually attract more investors into the league, and then we'll now see if the league can be expanded.
All right, let's see how that one goes right there in the NWF. We're open for the very best for Pacesetter Queens to say they can rejig the system and also start churning out results. Let's move away from that. Let's talk about the UEFA Champions League night of football. Fantastic result yesterday. There you have it on the screen. Manchester City, picking up the victory at the Santiago Bernabeu Stadium. Right there, 2-1. Rodrigo finally getting a goal yesterday, and Nico O'Reilly and also Edinburgh Haaland from penalty spot right there for Manchester City, 2-1. Let's look at other results quickly so we can talk about the game yesterday. A fantastic result yesterday for some teams. You see Borussia Dortmund also. Arsenal getting a goal there. You have on the screen. Ajax against Karabakh. The game ended 4-2 away from home. Ajax showing up their result. Also more results from yesterday's game right there in the UEFA Champions League. Fantastic game. Like I said, Arsenal, there you have it. FC Copenhagen against Villarreal, 3-2. Not a good one, but a Nigerian getting on the score is Oluwaseyi Gueye getting on the score sheet for Villarreal. Also, a fantastic result yesterday for some teams right there in the UEFA Champions League. Santo Balogun, let's talk about Madrid game against Manchester City yesterday. There was a question that if Xabi Alonso does not pick up a result against Manchester City, we got, according to report, that he was going to be sacked yesterday. But that did not happen. It still feels like there's a backing for Xabi Alonso, and the players that are supporting him are also saying he's a coach we want to see in the team. He's a tactician that we want to see play the game. I mean, coach us through it all at this point in time. But for me, it looks like there was a system that Carlo Ancelotti played that covered the mess of Madrid last season. And there's an exposure that's now happening for this team under Xabi Alonso. For you, what's the current situation? You look at the game against Celta Vigo, they lost. Now Manchester City lost. It's not looking like a settled team for Madrid.
I think Xabi Alonso as a coach needs no introduction. And he doesn't need to prove anything anymore because he did it with Bayer Leverkusen. And that's exactly what earned him, the position at Real Madrid. But quite unfortunately, you see, history is no longer enough to sustain a job. I mean, current results will help you keep a job, but history will help you get it. And as of now, the results in the last 5 games for Real Madrid, for Xabi Alonso, I think one way or the other, I think he's not even convinced about what he's currently doing. And another thing I see in this team now is they now concede at will. And that's a very big miss for a team. Yes, Madrid usually hasn't been a team that's so frugal in defense. They are not usually too compact in defense. They are most times conceding goals but scoring more. But right now, they are conceding goals, but they are not scoring more than the opponents, and that's a big problem. During Carlo Ancelotti's era, Madrid will concede 2 and win by 5 goals to 2, maybe 3 goals to 1, 3 goals to 2. But all that was important to him was the victory. We'll score more goals than you. But unfortunately, it's not happening now. And another thing, Carlo Ancelotti did last season was that he didn't keep faith with only the young players in the team. He was playing a blend of the young and the old. But right now, majority of the experienced players that played for Carlo Ancelotti are no longer with Real Madrid. Now he has to rely on players like Arda Güler in the team. He has to rely on Aurelien Tchouameni. Yes, he's more experienced now. Eduardo Camavinga and also Vinicius Junior. The only shining light you now have in that team is Kylian Mbappe. That if he's on the ball, you're definitely going to get a goal. Players like Rodrigo are already complaining. He's not a starter at Real Madrid, but he got the nod to play yesterday, and he got a goal. Some of these players also need a run in the team. They need to play week in, week out. Yes, if you cannot do week in, week out, at least give them a chance to express themselves on the field of play. And by the time you now bring them on board to come and play, they are rusty. They cannot give you, they cannot deliver, and the play will go to the players. But people don't understand that there's a difference between being fit and being match fit. Right? You can be fit physically and not match fit. You can be match rusty. That when you are given the opportunity, let me cite an instant. There's a player at Shooting Star Sports Club Ibadan. Since the season started, I had never seen him on the team sheet until they played. I think that wasn't a Kanemi. I think that was Katsina United, and he came on board. And he was lost on the field of play. And most people would want to blame him as a player. This guy has been training material for God knows how long. How many months? About 5 months. And you suddenly bring him into the fray and you want him to do magic. I mean, that's never going to happen. So people need to understand that some of these players also need to play week in, week out. And for Xabi Alonso, I think he's gambling too much with his tactical approach to games. Sometimes you would see a player in a different approach. I've seen Eduardo Camavinga playing on the right for Real Madrid. I'm asking myself, I mean, what exactly is going on? And we have seen, yes, we understand that they have had so many injuries at the back. I mean, players like Rudiger had injured, David Alaba had injured, Eder Militao had injured, out injured. They now seen also. So they have had to tweak, play some players in different positions. In fact, we have seen Aurelien Tchouameni had played at centre back. Valverde had played at right back. So it's difficult to complain about Xabi Alonso at this time. If he had the full strength of his squad at his
it's not
disposal and is not performing, yes, you can now press further and say, look, you are not doing well. But it's clear for everyone to see. The Yorubas will say it's the sickness of the eye, not that of the nose. I mean, you can see for yourself that this is the problem. And now there's an opportunity. This is December. It's almost 15th of December, and by the end of December, the transfer window will be open. If you have too many players who are they are usually on the treatment table, they are not giving you what you want, you ship them out, you farm them out, and then bring in a few more players who can actually complement your team. I mean, they knew Rudiger would be out for a long time.
That backline is gone totally.
That was why they brought Dean Hudson from Bournemouth last season. And believe you me, when he started playing for Real Madrid, was a few games, 1 or 2 games. Yes, he fumbled with the weight of the team, but he grew into it, and was a fantastic player for them. Only to also be injured too. And I really feel like he has the backing of the Madrid management, because on few occasions when he had to show up, he did for the team. And due to injuries, they are having crisis. But maybe when these players come back, I think I learned Rudiger is almost back.
He played yesterday. He actually did.
Right? And I'm talking about David Alaba too, quite close. There are so many players who really need to be back in that team. Even if they are not playing, they really need to be at the beck and call of the coach. If that is the case, then you can now complain that he's not doing well. But that result, for me, is not truly the true representation of what happened on the field of play. Real Madrid scored first. They were playing good football, only to concede 2 goals. That was, even in the Holland had to score a penalty. And if you look at how they played in the second half, I think they were able to control the narrative. They stayed true to the identity. The only thing that happened is they could not score a goal, which is a problem that I have complained about this season. So I feel going forward, there might just be a few changes in terms of how things work at Real Madrid.
All right. Also, result yesterday, Arsenal picking up the victory right there against Club Brugge. Fantastic goal for Noni Madueke. Gabriel Martinelli getting the goal yet again in the Champions League. It's 5 goals already this season in the UEFA Champions League. Also, you look at the table. Let's take a look at the table quickly. Let's look at the table right there in the UEFA Champions League. And you look at where some teams are at this point in time. You look at Arsenal already on 18 points this season. Bayern Munich also on 15. You look at Paris Saint-Germain having that draw yesterday. And also you look at Manchester City already back in that spot. You look at Atlanta, you look at Inter Milan, Madrid, and Atletico Madrid. Liverpool, Borussia Dortmund, Tottenham Hotspur, and Newcastle. Finally, Jose Mourinho's boys picked up a victory yesterday. The game ended right there against Napoli, 2-0. Those are the games that happened yesterday in the UEFA Champions League. Let's talk about our star man, Victor Osimhen. Fantastic one for Victor Osimhen as he wins the Man of the Year award on Wednesday night at Galatasaray, all the way from Napoli. The Turkish Sportsman of the Year honor. He thanks his Galatasaray family and supporters in his heartfelt speech. Beaming with pride, Osimhen has now scored 11 goals in 15 league games this season, powering the team title push on the Champions League campaign after a standard 37 goals last season. Nigeria celebrated the Super Eagles stars global moment following Mario Icardi's footsteps from 2023. If you can have the video played of Victor Osimhen, and we'll come back to talk about the UEFA Europa League, Conference League, and we'll wrap up the show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It feels so good to be in the midst of beautiful faces. I want to say a big thank you to GQ. Can't forget my Galatasaray family. I want to say this means so much to me and my family. I appreciate everyone that has supported me up to this hour. Thank you so much for your support. I will continue to do my best for my family, for Galatasaray, for the fans all over the world. Thank you so much for this. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
All right, there you have it. Victor Osimhen bagging our Samson Balogun for you. Fantastic player. One man that we'll be hoping to see at this year's AFCON.
Yeah, Well, I think sometimes I watch encouragements for to keep doing what you love doing best, and I mean that for me, it's not even really that football related. It's Men of the Year award at 2025, and you know, he's been recognized for being a guy that stood so tall, even despite in the face of criticism, sometimes, you know, rejection in some cases, and sometimes, you know, when things are just not going your way. And you know, through all that, he's been able to do so well for Galatasaray as a team. Get goals, contributes to the team even when he's not scoring. Sometimes you would have to leave the penalty for Mauro Icardi to play. I mean, that shows the level of camaraderie between them, the friendship and friendliness between them as players. I mean, Mauro Icardi is a top player. Played for you know, some of the biggest teams in the of course in the world of football, and definitely now moving to Galatasaray, being the top man, and then they bring a certain Victor Osimhen and suddenly becomes the shining light. So sometimes it takes being the bigger person to let others shine too. I mean, to just realize the fact that, well, it's not really only about me, it's about everyone in the team, and that's what Icardi has done. I mean, I credit him for that, and also for Victor Osimhen not trampling on the opportunity given to him by the Galatasaray people, not saying I'm the big boy here, I'm the rave of the moment, and then, you know, turning the team to a mess. I think it deserves the award, and you know, kudos to Victor.
A fantastic one. We hope to see Victor Osimhen at this year's AFCON. Definitely, we'll be here to discuss about the AFCON tomorrow, the preparations, and we hope that the list of the Super Eagles will be out by tomorrow.
Maybe.
Maybe.
You see, I've always said this: the coach only gave himself unnecessary.
Honestly,
or
we're yet to see a list by now.
maybe he's not going through the headache anyway. Maybe it was just a sham, just for people to think, oh, we're going to do.
I'm sure they know their pick, just like you said. You already said they know their pick already. All right, let's move away from that. Let's talk about the Europa League games tonight and also the conference. Let's swiftly look at the fixtures right there for the UEFA Europa League and also the Conference League for today. Fantastic games will be played today. You see Ferencváros against Rangers, also Dynamo Kiev against Real Betis, Ludogorets against PAOK, Midtjylland against Genk, Nice against Braga, and also Sturm Graz against Cerran Zveda, Stuttgart against Tel Aviv, and also Utrecht against Nottingham Forest, Young Boys against Lille, Basel against Aston Villa. Big games are right there in the UEFA Europa League. Quickly, let's look at the Conference League. Also, games will be played in the UEFA Conference League on Thursday night. Big games also to look out for right there in the Conference League of the UEFA. Fantastic games for you to look out for. This is the Europa League. If you can have the Conference League also being displayed, then you look at the result and maybe the fixtures right there of the Conference League for today. Wrapping up the show is saying his final goodbye to football is Rui Patricio of Wolverhampton Wanderers. Yeah, I was shocked when I saw the news this morning also at the age of 37, something like that.
I mean, it's done amazingly well. It's one of the goalkeepers who, you know, in the last few years, let's say the last 5-6 years, did so well in the EPL. I mean, you would want to rate him and put him in the category of Jussi Jääskeläinen of Bolton Wanderers of the time, Brad Friedel of Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, he did so well for himself, and you know, he carved a niche. And I mean, you might just put him in the category of Tim Krul of Newcastle United at that time too. I mean, not so noisy as a goalkeeper. I mean, but then if you check the statistics, you will see that he did so well in terms of saves. Sometimes, you know, I mean, he did so well for the team, and he deserves to be celebrated. And it takes courage to retire at this time when the World Cup is still over there, when you could have actually had a shot at being, you know, selected for the World Cup, even if not as the first choice goalkeeper, maybe as second or third choice goalkeeper. But of course, he says, look, I've had enough of every of this. I just want to
maybe
go.
Family time now.
Maybe it's time for family. I mean, at 37, a player who plays up till 37 is a legend. I mean, whatever it is, even if it's an average goalkeeper, you have to give it to them. I mean, that longevity is something that really needs to be talked about. And congratulations to him. I think it is time to now have the family time. You know, you don't have to wake up early in the morning to say you are going to the training ground. Yes, you can always do your training. You know, get a treadmill and put at the corridor of your house. Maybe now take a job as a coach somewhere, or maybe as a pundit somewhere. But then that's it. You know, everything that starts definitely has to end.
I'm sure it will definitely not be open to be the next Jimmy Carragher at this point in time.
You see,
because even Alan had an interview and it was like, "Oh, saying Jimmy Carragher now gives me some fear." I'm sure that's sarcasm, but you know something about it.
You see, I think I've had to say this a lot of times. I'm not sorry to say it. For a player who wasn't that exceptional during his days, in fact, I would rate Sami Hyypiä of Liverpool of those days ahead of Jamie Carragher as a player. But unfortunately, he's been saddled with the responsibility of condemning and then hyping some players. I mean, you know, sometimes when you have the opportunity, you really have to, you know, just use it wisely.
Yeah.
And the microphone is not just something you can, you know, aside from just saying it as it is, where people will understand where you are coming from. And sometimes you have to let them know it's just an opinion. It might not necessarily mean that's what I believe. That's what I want you to see. I'm just trying to paint a picture. But for him, I think it's usually about his opinion, and his opinion every time. That makes people think of who exactly does he think he is?
Well,
I mean, I've seen some people call his bluff each time he's on TV and say, look, whatever it is you have to say, nobody cares.
Goals, more of own goals.
I mean, he has more own goals than goals he scored in his career. So what's the big deal about his career? I mean, he only what he had that he can be proud of.
Would you rate him among the top 1,000 defenders in the world?
Never. I mean, I don't do him around 5,000. No, never. He's not there. I mean, you would rate. I mean, would you mention a Jamie Carragher when you're talking about players like William Gallas that people don't really talk about? I mean, Ledley King of Tottenham Hotspur. I will pick those players ahead of. In fact, I will pick a certain Chancellor Mbemba ahead of Jamie Carragher. It's not sarcasm. I'm just trying to say, what did you bring to the team aside from scoring own goals? I mean, you have put the team in danger more than you saved them. So for me, I don't rate him. I'm sorry if he feels embarrassed by any of this, but that's the truth. Sometimes the microphone is for you to just paint pictures and not have an opinion about a certain player. Oh, this does not do that. I mean, I watched what he said about Mo Salah and it felt really disrespectful. Someone that did absolutely nothing for his team. I mean, he should put some respect on Mo Salah's name. And whatever it is he has to say now should not come from him. He doesn't have that liberty to say that. Regardless of if you have been given a microphone to spit on, don't go near that man who has done so much for your team. Over 250 goals for Liverpool, and you have come out to say all that nonsense about him. I won't take it from anymore.
I agree. All right, definitely. That's all we can take on the show this wonderful morning. Yes, I'm sure the crew are also looking. Well, yeah, it is what it is. We're going to say goodbye to you. Join us tomorrow on the show, Friday edition of Dominion Sport. We have so much to dish out on the show tomorrow. The Premier League is going to be back. All leagues across the world is going to be back tomorrow. So make sure you're locked in. And I say big thank you to my producer and also to the crew and Samson Balogun. I must say big thank you to you for always joining us on the show every day. Tomorrow's going to be fantastic. Make sure you join us. Have a fantastic day and bye for now.